Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Valerie.
So to everyone who don't know us, I'm Valery Topaz from Valery Alignment. I am an alignment practitioner and teacher. And this is Jason Parks. He has been my mentor for a while now, and he's a wonderful practitioner himself. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, certainly. I work with the Life Principle down in southern Tasmania, um, and I'm an energetic therapist and mentor. So, yeah,
A
that's what
really
I
good
do.
one.
Yeah, well, that's lovely. Thank you.
And in our last session, we were discussing a really interesting topic, and that's why we decided to do this recording today, because we thought that it might be very interesting for a lot of practitioners, as well as maybe beneficial
Yeah,
for people that are new to this life, this journey as a practitioner or therapist or healer. Um, and we decided to call it the practitioner's journey, right? Because we wanted to talk about that whole journey that you go through when you start, from the moment you start, and later on how it develops and
yeah,
builds in substance.
absolutely. Yeah.
Would you
So,
like to talk about it for a bit?
yeah, let's get into it.
Mm.
So, I think one of the key points, like when you start in any therapeutic discipline, and that's a really important word, right? Because when you first start and you do your training, so what people are teaching you are the basics of what you do with a certain modality. They're not teaching you how to do the work. That comes through experience, contact with your clients, so forth. So I did, I studied for a long time, a lot of different modalities, in alignment with teaching classical Chinese martial arts and qigong and Buddhist teachings, things like that. And one of the things that came out was so interesting about it was you learn a lot of modalities, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can put them together into a usable format. And the way the industry is structured is very much, collect modalities and it's just constantly, oh, everyone's doing a weekend workshop, everybody's doing a this, doing a that, upgrading their skills. It's really important that you keep upgrading your skills, but it's more important that you go deep with your skills, not broad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I remember
so
one of my first teachers, he told me the same thing, my first ever mentor and teacher
yeah,
that came from martial arts himself,
yeah,
and he was doing osteopathy and a lot of other things, but his whole basis was Tai Chi, Qigong, and something else, karate.
yeah,
And this is, I think, where we came together because both of us did karate.
yeah,
And he started his class, even though it was a college, it wasn't in private. He started his class by saying, anyone who never did any type of martial arts, especially Tai Chi or karate, this class is not for you. If you don't know how to hold your body like that, how to hold your energy and how to move in that way from your center, the whole class is not for you.
yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a specific way of thinking, right?
because it's about your thinking. The thing about the classical view is that it's about integration and it's about understanding your place within natural law. So, how the universe works and how we're working to get in harmony with that. The more we're in harmony with that, the healthier we're going to be, the more productive, the more easier to manifest. All of those things, we thrive in a nutshell.
How do you see the combination between natural law and martial arts? Because I just want to bring it up because I had that conversation that we are having
Mm,
on a few other forums, that the more modern ones, there are a lot of new groups nowadays
yeah,
for every practitioner that starts a group, and they
yeah,
teach people how to manifest abundance and manifest their whatever. And it's all about don't be in lack mentality, be in abundance mentality, and all of that. I had those conversations in, I think, 2 or 3 groups.
Yeah.
And the one thing that kept coming up is that way of thinking, how we're speaking about it,
Yeah.
is really old, and it
Yeah.
belongs to the isms, all the, traditions,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not relevant to our world anymore.
Yeah.
Because people can do whatever they want, they can practice however they want, they can charge whatever they want. It's all about your inner state, what you believe you deserve, and the ways are out there.
Yeah. All children are very showy. So they're very, teenagers in particular. And the thing is that in the old study, we say like the martial arts study, there's a really interesting journey that goes through that. And that's the journey of classical education, where you start off as a beginner, you don't know anything. So your mind's open. So you see things honestly. You get it or you don't get it, and everything makes sense. And then you get to a point where you're basically like a teenager. And when you're a teenager, you think you know what it is to be a grown up, right? So you think you got an opinion, you got an opinion, and you certainly feel entitled to one, but you haven't necessarily earned it yet.
You don't have a basis for that opinion.
Exactly
It's
right.
just your mind creating it.
Yeah. And then you get out of that, life kicks the crap out of you, basically. and then you get your wisdom. And as you come into wisdom, you start going back to thinking like a child. You
Yeah.
start to go, oh, I just need to really see things for what they are instead of what I want them to be.
And then
So,
common
yeah,
sense comes back into the picture.
exactly.
Simplicity comes back into the picture. You understand that actually you don't know anything, and you're here to just channel it through you and learn.
Yeah, yeah. It's about gentle, being kind, having ease, allowing grace, and really being like it's understanding there's things bigger than you. So at the moment, what we're hearing is that people don't study history, which is part of the problem. They don't study history. So if they were studying history, they'd know that this is just the latest fad.
Yeah.
And when you've been around in an industry for long enough, you understand a heap of its history because you've lived through it. So you're just like, oh yeah, I remember when people used to think like that, and then it went away and it became that, then and that, then it comes back again. And
It's
but
cyclical.
yeah, but this is a technology thing. So that method of thinking that you can have it all, you can do whatever, you can charge whatever you want, you've just got to feel all that's about lack. And, if you don't feel that there's lack. So these are shallow graspings of much deeper wisdoms. Said all those things are right. They're only just this far down in the puddle. They're not a depth of a lake.
No
And
substance. No
yeah.
depth.
So what happened is because a lot of these people, like a lot of this stuff is built on selling programs around marketing.
Yeah.
And one of the things about it that you notice is, and I'll give you a really good example, is that Tony Robbins 20 years ago, maybe more, 25 years ago, released a program called Get the Edge. And it was done through telemarketing and it was really popular. He made a lot of money out of it. And I heard it, I got it back then because that was like, wow, this is awesome. And so you get into it and you're listening to things, and then there's a statement he uses, a little trick, and he says, he said, I don't say this to impress you. I say this to impress upon you, blah, blah, blah. Right? And you go, that's a clever line. It sticks in your head.
Yeah.
But what happens is over the next 20 years, you hear it 10,000 times as everybody was in like that line. They grab the line, but they don't understand it.
Mm.
So what I mean by that
Repeat it.
is, yeah, the first guy that says it, it's got a lot of impact. Said the more it goes along, it's got less impact. So a lot of these sales groups, I have a lot of clients that do that. They talk to marketing people, and marketing people say, oh, here's your scripts and here's this. So these scripts come from very successful salespeople. And when they said it, it had massive impact because nobody had said it before because they made it up. But when they sell it to everyone in your industry, everyone says it. So now it has no impact. It
Yes.
just sounds like you're reading a script and it's inauthentic, which is a barrier to sales, right?
Which is actually what's happening, because the person who said it first didn't only say it.
That's right.
They said it because that's a result of their journey and experience, and that was their outcome and realization. So
Yeah.
they're sharing it, because usually you see how it's like also in the therapy world nowadays. It's a very popular um, growing your business tactics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you become a therapist, then you grow your business, and then you start selling courses on how to sell courses, or selling
That's right.
courses on how to grow your business.
Yeah.
So that's like the marketing and sales becomes an entity on its own,
Yeah.
just to grow business in a
Yeah.
big way. But the whole point is that usually these people, they are replicating something that somebody else had said or done because they did it themselves. They copied someone, they did it themselves, and now they're teaching it. And it's like this ongoing, it's basically empty like fiat money. It's just
Yeah.
something that's being printed out there and spread out there, and but it has no substance. It's very different to the first person who had ever done something,
Yeah.
and
That's
they
right.
coined a term based on their hard work and lived experience and a realization that came to them from, not only it's the way I see it, it's obviously all the knowledge is out there for everyone, but who grabs it from the ether and
Yeah.
then actually lives that knowledge,
That's right.
he gets to
That's
coin it.
yeah, that is a huge point because that's authentic. When you're being authentic, you're grabbing it from the ether and you're embodying it and you're bringing that into the world. You're birthing it into the world.
The embodiment is a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what people want. So the difference is it's a basic business problem is that in business you have two kinds of people that you deal with who give you money, right? The first one are customers and the second are clients.
Hmm.
And they're completely different. So if you work in a service station or you have like McDonald's, said you have customers. So that means that people come to you for something, they don't care anything about you. They just want whatever. So a service station, people want to buy petrol. They don't care. I used to work in a service station. People just want to buy petrol. That's it. They
The
want to keep
product.
going to where they're going. So they want it to be fast, clean, efficient. They don't care if it's cheap. They like to think so, but when you got to put fuel in your car, you got to put it in, and
You'll
that's
get it
it.
no matter what.
Exactly right. So, and they just want to keep going. It's like the food that they sell in a service station is just like sugar, fat, salt, caffeine. It's just like I'm tired. The only reason I'm eating this is because I'm tired. I want to get to where I'm going. So I'm just going to shovel that in, stimulants in, and I'm going to keep going. So that's a customer. If you never see that person again, you don't worry because the placement of where you put your business means that you're going to have a constant flow of
That's-
of people. Now, a client is a completely opposite creature. So the client is someone that you have an ongoing relationship with. They come to you because of what you do and you work with them and together you create this relationship. And as long as you're a valued service to that person,
Mhm.
then they will continue to work with you. And because it leads us into marketing, doesn't it? Because this is where things get lost. They think it's about a technique. When you start out, you don't know anything. And then you start to learn. You seek mentors, you do all that sort of thing. That's smart. Of course that's smart.
Yeah.
Um, but you don't know what you don't know yet.
Yes.
So people
So
will
you can
tell
get
you,
the people in, but
yeah,
there's
that's
no
right.
way
You
to
can get them
retain them
in.
because there's again no substance.
That's right.
Actually,
And
you were
that's
saying that it
the
leads
problem.
you to marketing. To me, it led me in my head straight away to just human connection and relationships, not
That
even marketing, because I see that, we all both of us are in the same industry, yeah.
yeah,
And the thing that I've noticed, after so many years of practicing, that A lot of the people that are, I find it even hard to call them clients. It's just my people, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
They're with me because of the relationship, not just, of course, the results are super important, and that's why we're talking about it, because you need to have consistent, clear results with, you need to be able to prove it, you need to be able
Yeah.
to compare the before and after, and for people to see a change in their lives for health
Yeah.
or whatever they wanted to achieve. But there's also the human element, the human factor, which I feel that can be either lacking because of that mentality,
Mhm.
or very fake and superficial in order to get people in through the door. So
Yeah.
you are taught to look a certain way, act a certain way, and that's very different to the way both of us are operating. Because I'm, you know, obviously boundaries are super important, but it's still within my boundaries to keep in touch with my people, to check on them. I know, I remember, and I don't even keep files. I know everyone,
Mm.
all of their story, whatever is happening with them. And it obviously, my group of people that I'm working with grew a lot throughout the years.
Yeah.
And I still remember, and my memory is not that good, yeah, but still that personal connection with everyone in 3 countries,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that I haven't seen in ages. I still know what's going on, and I remember the story. I know how the process looked like, because it is a personal thing, even though it's really different. Because when I practice, like it's like I'm not there, because I
Mm.
can run the
Yeah.
human,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
their whole being through my nervous system, and it doesn't matter if I see horrors or experience these things, I'm detached from it. I don't feel it. I just move it through me. But then when it's done, there's the personal connection.
Yeah.
And the personal connection is, a lot of people told me that they find that to be the most important part,
Mm.
more
Yeah.
important than the service.
Absolutely. But that's because there's a foundation. So because you have depth of skill, you can get results consistently. If you can get results consistently, it allows you to get into the depth of what people really want, which is that connection, which is spot on. So the problem that comes about with technique is that, first of all, technique is an extra barrier to creating that depth. It said if I'm putting you into sales funnels and I'm doing all that, then you feel that you are being manipulated and acted upon.
Mm-hmm.
And like my marketing, there's a front end and a back end to marketing, right? Which is really important. So front end marketing is all that sales funnel stuff. It's your
Mm-hmm.
advertising, it's how the world sees you. Back end is the quality. That's everything else, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's like I have a lot of marketing on the back end. So I have basically zero on the front end,
Can
you
you
know.
elaborate on that?
Well, I don't advertise at all. So I've been running this now for about, I think, 9 years, 10 years, 9 years. And 9 years I've started doing energy work. I mean, I did it bits and pieces before, and I was in a Buddhist order and used to do work with that. Said, but to look down and say, okay, I'm going to build my life going forward as an energetic therapist. And I did the whole thing. I found a venue. I had clothes. I bought myself a beautiful table. Um, I had all of this stuff, and I started advertising. I did this ad, and nothing.
Mm.
And everywhere I went, nothing, not a single thing. And in the first 12 months that I started working with, you know, trying to advertise, get the word of mouth out, do all those sorts of things, I think I did 4 sessions in the first year, and none of them were paid. Right? They were just friends of friends. Can you do a favor? You know?
Yeah. But did you feel bad about it, or were you actually proud of the fact that you got to practice?
Well, I just took it as that
It is
because
what
I'd
it
been
is,
in other
right?
industries. Yeah.
It's just the reality. This is the point that I think that a lot of people are missing. And just, you know, to go back to how we even started to talk about that. I
Yeah.
came to you with the problem of, I'm trying to hire a team.
Yeah.
And because of what I want a team that I can build with.
Yeah.
Usually these people are early on in their journey because they want to learn more, they want to um, get more knowledge and experience. So obviously they're pretty early on in our day and age.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about. So the substance is not there, but they already have those ideas. And this is something that I came across so much. So people, I think almost no one had asked me, what is alignment therapy? But they all asked me, how do you market? How many are you
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
with an agency?
Yeah.
How much money do you put into marketing? Which website do you have? Do you have SEOs? Everybody asked me that. Nobody asked me about the authenticity, or nobody even said, I want to book a session with you. I want to see what you do. Because
Mm.
if I'm under your name and your title, I want to see what you represent. And for me, it was so obvious that throughout the whole HR process and people before they even got to see me, the first thing that they got, their first email was a podcast interview that I did with Dee
Yeah.
on her podcast, Be Free with Dee. So they got an interview to see how I think
Yeah.
and what I stand for. They got my website with all the elaboration of the modalities. And I think there were a few videos of me actually practicing.
Yeah.
I think if I was on the other side, I would say, I want to try that. And I want to read your testimonials and I want to understand what am I stepping into. But
Exactly.
the thing that I kept hearing about is, how much are you paying? What is your marketing? And things that it's sort of, but that's the superficial side,
Yeah.
and then I find it kind of tricky to even explain how am I fully booked with. It doesn't even matter. I can't say that I don't do any marketing because I do have social media that I wouldn't even have if I
Yeah.
didn't have a business. But nobody ever came to me from Instagram or Facebook. People
Yeah.
come
It's
to me
interesting that, isn't it?
word to mouth. It's more like a to have somewhere where your people can go. Because a lot of my people from my community, they chat to me about things that I've posted,
Yeah.
talk a lot there, but no,
Yeah.
it's not an avenue for new people to come to me.
No, no. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're not doing it because it's a funnel that leads clients in.
It's not a funnel.
It's a
I'm not
service.
selling stuff.
No, no. Like I have a podcast. I, I'm on a regular podcast with Emma Romano, and we do that. That's our charity. We
Yeah.
do that as an act of charity. Like, let's get information out to people, and it
Yeah,
costs a
and I
lot to run
follow
it.
it and it's brilliant. I
Yeah,
do the same thing with a community. I have a WhatsApp community. It's for free. It's for both practitioners that are my colleagues, as well as students and
beautiful.
clients and people that I mentor in therapy.
Yeah,
Here, for instance, that's another thing. I do mentor people, especially new beginner practitioners.
yeah,
But I would never go into doing something like mentoring people how to market and scale and stuff like that, because that's not in my integrity, that's not authentic, and it's just not what I'm about. So I can mentor practitioners in how to work through the nervous system, how to
yeah,
work with fascia, how to do this specific practitioner stuff, the
yeah,
therapeutic stuff. Doesn't matter where they came from or what modality or approach, because it all eventually we're one human being. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah.
that is, I know that this is what I'm good at.
Mm.
I won't start doing other things just because it will grow the business. It's not
Well,
authentic.
well, this is what's under marketing, because the whole purpose of marketing is to allow the right people to find you. But in the bottom of that is word of mouth. So so
How
when
does
I
that work?
so well that really comes out of the relationships, and you can't build a relationship. Like, if somebody comes to you and they're in pain, they're not going to hang around long enough to find out the depth of what you do if you can't do something about their immediate problem.
Yes.
And if you can't keep building on those results because you have a depth of understanding, so that's what creates the foundation. I mean, even you and I started working together because you had some, say, word of mouth. You found out about me, and I know that because That's the only way people find out about me,
That's
right?
really interesting about you, that people, you're known
Yeah,
broadly for being the person that unless somebody gave them your number, there's no way to get to you. Nobody knows that you even have a website unless you send them a link.
yeah, that's it. My website is so that the people I work with can contact me easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's not
point.
to get new people. Yeah, because it's the thing about it is that all marketing. My father was in business and he was very successful at it. And but he used to say, like, the fundamental of all marketing is word of mouth. He
Mm-hmm.
said that's why you have an ad. You have an ad because you want people to come and try what you do, and then you want them to tell all their friends. They
Mm-hmm.
love what they got, and they tell everyone. They want to share that. He said, and that's it. So, like I said, my first year, I had like 4 clients. They were all unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
But within that, what I did was I practiced daily. That was the big thing. It was just like I didn't sit there and go, oh, this is depressing. I was just like, okay, well, I clearly have not hit the level where people want what I want. So what I'm doing. So I just kept building my skills every day, every day, every day. And then a person would come along and then every day. And then what happened was it was sort of in that second year where it started to pick up a bit. And then people were paying me. And then that started to move forward. And I found what my niche was. And that's the really important thing. You got to find out what you really do better than anyone else. And for me, it was like really complex, really awful, energetic stuff. Like I started off being the person that could clear entities and black magic and all that sort of stuff, like nobody else could get to. So that was where my reputation was built.
So you found your niche. Do you believe
Exactly.
that people can or supposed to just come up with the niche for the sake of marketing?
People do that because that's what they're being told. You need to find a niche. You need to find a niche. It's like, no, you don't need to find a niche. You need to find your uniqueness. If you recognize why you're unique, that's in integrity with your soul. So that's where it comes together. When I realized that that was the work, as horrifying as it was, that was the work that I was supposed to do,
Mm.
right? Then the soul integrated, and then suddenly the soul's got the trigger of manifestation. So as soon as it was like that, it was like, yes, I'm ready to step into my work. And then it was suddenly, it was book
And then
solid.
it flows, right? Because when you
Yeah,
are in inner alignment, things
yeah.
just happen. You don't need to do anything.
No, exactly right. And
And this
then
is why I find it so important to go through that journey, because I
must do.
see that, for instance, my niche right now,
Mm,
after 13 years of practicing, I would
yeah,
say, the niche found me.
yeah,
There was no way for me to even know what I will end up doing, having my own approach and what it would be. I didn't even have the skills to do what I do today.
yeah, that's right.
One thing led to another, one thing led to another, one question led to another question, more investigation, more understanding. The skills were developing. I spoke to a few coaches, business coaches, that advised me. They said, you should write a course
Mm,
and to have your own modality because it's an online product it sells.
yeah,
I'm actually writing the course now,
mm,
but it took me 13 years.
yeah,
So I thought about doing something, writing a book a few years before. I think I started, my son was tiny, so it was around 7 years ago. I wrote half of it and
yeah,
then I left it. It just didn't feel right. And I can tell you now, based on what I know now, if I would have wrote that book and published it, it would have been bullshit because
mm,
I wouldn't stand behind anything that I wrote there. It was relevant to who I was 7 years ago.
yeah,
And knowing what I know now, I know it's kind of tricky. So you're not supposed to never do anything because you always evolve. Of course you do. But I think you get to a point where you feel that there's that
yeah, that's
essence,
right.
substance, and alignment in what you do. And then
Yeah,
it flows. Then I don't, all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there writing in my notes, and the whole approach kind of reveals itself to me. Because it's not just gaining knowledge, it's also through practice. And for me personally, through teaching, I understand myself, I understand what I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to explain what I do. I don't
Yeah.
know how to tap into a nervous system. How do you teach somebody how to do that? But that is bringing us back to the discipline part, because
Yeah.
it's not about how, it's about who you need to be
Yeah. Exactly
to
right.
have an ability.
And that's what the when we're talking at the beginning, we're saying about like the teenage thinking.
Yeah.
I said what that does is that cheats the practitioner from having that journey. If you think,
Yes.
because if you focus on marketing, some people out there are amazing at marketing. They can just get people in all the time, and they're going to get a lot of people, but you're watching them at a certain point in their evolution. So the problem is most of these people have not been around long enough. The ones that are like really very, very entitled, very much, you can have it all, everything's old, this is the new. They said, yeah, it's like, yeah, well, 2 years from now, you're going to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
And everything you did was old and this is new. And then 2 years later, you're going to reinvent yourself and everything was old and this is new. It's an immature cycle of understanding. And it's like, if you just turn around and say, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, there's, I have an incomplete understanding. So the more understanding of it I have, the more depth I'm going to get out of it. It's like if you're a carpenter, not much has changed in 8,000 years around how to use a hammer, right? There's a reason why a hammer exists. It's so simple that it works on everything. If something needs to be hit, it hits everything. Yeah, you get all of these new hydraulic and electronic and all of this computer driven stuff, and it's great. But you know what? 3 years from now, you got to buy a new one because that's outdated technology. But every
But a
carpenter
hammer
you
is still a
see
hammer.
has still got a hammer, don't they?
Yeah.
So, and all of those things, it's like I remember talking to a teacher one time, school teacher, and they were saying about, all the kids are using iPads, and they're like, oh, it's stupid that we still teach handwriting. And I said to them, I said, well, yeah, but you know that everything you're doing on the iPad is based on handwriting.
And the
And
brain won't develop if you won't teach people handwriting and cursive and stuff. It just, yeah,
exactly
you're not
right.
going to be a fully integrated human being.
Exactly right. Because it's about integration. Handwriting is about integration. It's not about, the most efficient way to do it. But
I
that
guess practice
technology,
really also, right? Practice is also about integration, is going through the journey and then integrating it, another step, integrating it, another step, integrating it. And
exactly
it's
right.
very, very cool in my eyes what you said, because I didn't even think about it. How a lot of the new guys, they get really triggered by this conversation, because for them, when you talk about no, you should actually work
Yeah.
to be deserving of a title, to be deserving of being a name out there, or whatever it is, your
Yeah.
title. um they don't like it because it's not fast, it's not, and where's your abundance mentality and all of that. But actually, you put it in a way better, you put it in perspective and in a way better way to explain it, that they are actually not noticing that they're being robbed of the journey.
Exactly.
It's not you're not supposed to be defending a fast, easy, superficial way of practicing just to get a lot of people in and have a really awesome marketing strategy or funnel. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be fighting for your right to become that deeply integrated, knowledgeable, and embodied practitioner.
Yeah. Exactly right. And they talk about that abundance mentality. It's like, yeah, but it's also understanding greed. So a lot of that stuff's driven by greed, that sense of entitlement, because people don't understand it. They haven't been around long enough to understand it. That's the problem. So like I still practice martial arts. So last week is the 40th anniversary of me practicing,
Oh,
right?
congratulations.
So I've been doing it for 40 years. It said it's really interesting where you see somebody who's like 18 years old and they've been practicing for like 3 years and they're telling you how it is. And you're just like, well, yeah, that's okay. I appreciate the effort. Said, but you literally haven't lived long enough. So there's things
Yeah.
that happen when you practice for a decade where you think differently to what you did in the first 4 or 5 years. But 10 years later, you think differently again. And 10 years later, you think differently again. And even though I taught for 28 years straight, and I spent 10 years as a professional, full-time professional instructor, that was all I did. And I spent 5 years as a civil monk in a Buddhist tradition. So I was a teacher of Buddhism and in that role. So it's a different experience. And even so, I look at it last week and I was thinking, like, I retired from teaching 10 years ago, but I look at it and I go, yeah, you know what? If I was teaching now, I would do this so differently to what I even thought January this year.
Yeah.
And I know that by Christmas this year, because what is it now? It's late August, early September. So it's like, yeah, so 3 months from now, I'm going to think differently about it again. And
It's not a contradiction to doing stuff, right? It's not a contradiction to
no,
creating stuff and getting your knowledge out there. It's more about understanding where you even on the level that you're even should be eligible to get any knowledge out there, and you're not just repeating like a parrot, like a monkey, the
yeah,
same thing that
because
was said before you.
that's what happens. People do that. That mentality, it steals that depth of awareness and growth, because you'll take that into every other aspect of your life. You'll take it into your relationships, your health, your everything, your self development. All of that will happen. But if you're being trained that your job is to consume a product, distribute a product, and then what are you going to do? You're going to do what you know how to do. So you're going to switch modalities a couple of years from now, and then you're going to do it again. You're going to do it again. You're going to spend the next 10, 20 years on the surface of the pond, reliving that same experience. You're not
Yeah.
going to get depth. You're just going to do the same thing with the latest package, with the latest idea. It's going to be up to date, and you're going to make money. Yeah, you're going to make money, but you know what? It's that thing of when I lent into it, I was fully booked. So how much more do I need than to be fully booked? Right. And then there's a point where you go, well, as I expand my picture of the world, and it's like, oh, I could create more in other areas of my life. That was when it evolved into things that allowed more money to flow to me. And then that happened again and again and again. And that's what it does. So the idea of grabbing a whole heap of money and it's going, yeah, it's great. I'm making a whole heap of money. Well, I got a severe case of dengue fever recently, and it stopped me from working for 10 weeks. I could barely do anything. I did a little bit of mentoring, but I couldn't really work properly. And it was 10 weeks it took me out. And the only thing that my family noticed was that they knew I wasn't working.
Yeah.
That was it. It didn't affect their quality of life. It didn't do anything because the flow of abundance was there and the resources we needed was there and everything just went along nice and smoothly. And
And that's not
that's
just marketing and financial
no,
systems. It's a lot more than that.
it's alignment, yeah. So it's really letting yourself be who you are in that work and let it grow organically, because people are thinking, when you talk about universal law, people are thinking it's about the law of attraction. Law of attraction is rubbish when you're looking for something with depth. Said you want the law of perpetual increase, the law that sustains all growth in the universe, right? That is what you want. And it comes in the way that nature does it, in the way, where does a baby start? A baby starts with one cell. Starts with 2 cells, bang, combine 1 cell, that cell splits and splits and splits. And 9 months later, it's a little person. And then 18 years later, it's a fully grown person. And that's how you build it. It said when you build through perpetual increase, it is, as the name suggests, perpetual,
Yeah.
right? It
And
just
even
keeps
in that
building.
context, what you just said with relationships, it's the same. The law of attraction that brings people together, that's just a split of a second in time. It's a fading thing.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
perpetual increase is the thing that leads you from just attraction to a relationship, to a family, to kids, to owning a house together, to that growth. That's a way deeper law. I wanted to ask you on that. You talk about laws a lot. Where can people even find the list of universal laws? Where I think people just hear all the time about the law of attraction, and another one that's not even a law, it's just people constantly think about karma, which every teacher has a different explanation of. But that's it. I think that most people don't even know what are universal laws. And before I met you, I've learned about universal laws from learning common law, from the law side of things, and how it's all based on universal laws and natural laws. But it's not something that's being promoted out there. People don't talk about the essence of that. So where can people find it?
I don't know. I know I teach it, right? So, but how I came across it was I just studied and studied and studied, and I was given like when you study classical martial arts, it's about that, because you're studying things like cause and effect, and you're studying things like energy transmutation, how things move into form, through form, out of form. And I know for me, like I spent probably in that journey of trying to study it, being aware that there was like a rules that you could learn. I said I had like one law that I understood for 20 years, just the one. And then I got a second one about 10 years ago. And then through that, it was started to be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe there are laws, more laws. And the thing about it is you see it everywhere in nature. It's everywhere. But you can't, but the list helps. So I can give you a list right now. All right. I can give you a list right now. So I'm doing a course at the moment, a group mentoring, which is a block, and we do 43.
43 laws.
Yeah.
So how about maybe you should probably do something specifically for that. Maybe we can do either another talk only on universal laws. And I'm just thinking that it might be a very good resource for people if you'll actually write something about it. Because what you just said is it kind of proves the whole point of this conversation, that some things you don't want to find a piece of paper that said something or read it one time in some book or listen and now you're a pro. You actually need to leave it. You understand universal laws because you actually learned them for so long and you understand them.
Yeah.
And as you see, you can find it in martial arts. You can find it in all of those things that the new age finds not important.
Yeah, exactly right.
Fundamentals, yeah. You find it in physics, you find it in math, you find it in language, you find it in nature, you find it in just even observation.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Is that it's observation. You've got to make yourself teachable. You've got to make yourself teachable. And that's where the other approach robs it from you, because they tell you, you don't need to be taught anything. You know this. All you got to do is have a right mindset. And it's like, yeah, but right mindset is very deep. Your mind is a construct. It said the things that construct the mind, that's what you want to understand. And you're not going to get that with you don't do that simply. So you can learn it really quickly if you know what you're doing, but it's just, even in universal law, I suppose the best way for someone to start is to read a book called the Kybalion. The Kybalion has seven.
I have a plane flying above me just as you said that.
So the Kybalion, it's called. That's probably the most popular book on universal law. And it has 7 of them in there, but it talks about them as theoretical concepts. It's nice to know cause and effect. It's like, because, I mean, really, as a theoretical concept, we say, okay, well, everything that exists was caused by something else. It's the effect of something else. And where you see an effect, there is a cause. And if you understand the cause, you have power over the effect. And the effect can create more causes. Well, that's all the theoretical understanding you really need to have about it.
Yeah.
What you want to understand, though, is how to use it as a tool. And You can't do that. Like there's things like there's soul laws and pain body laws, and I don't write them down for a very important reason, because there is an energetic and spiritual consequence to even knowing what they are. The moment you know what they are, like the moment you understand what the pain body laws are, the pain body knows you know. And now you can't go back. You can't pretend. You can't go into ignorance with that. You said the pain body will punish you again and again and again and again because you got too close.
That's wow.
Yeah.
You know that it came up a lot in our sessions, yeah?
Yeah, we've
And I
talked
told
about
you
that.
that one thing that I'm really aware of is usually my self-sabotaging method is injury and being sick.
Yeah.
So and you've explained it to me and I understand better. Now I know. I know that it's there.
Yeah.
But I was sure that, like a lot of other things, once you know, it's your choice whether you do it or not. But I see that it doesn't actually work like that with the pain body because I know, but now it hits even stronger
Exactly. It'll hit you,
instead
it'll
of
hit you in a different
disappearing.
way. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's the same with the soul. Once you know what the laws of the soul are, said that's probably the hardest ones, because the soul is injured and trying to repair itself. That's why it comes into the world. But the moment it knows you've got a picture on it, it's like, thankfully, now I can come out. But it expects you to support it constantly. So you have to be working on your own character constantly, your ethics constantly. And there's just things that you have to let go of, and parts of identity you just have to keep letting go of. So universal law is probably the safest of them. So, but
For
even
people
once you
that
know
choose
that,
ignorance, they're actually some of them, if they don't want to do the work, it is the best choice, right?
it is,
And
yeah,
you're not supposed to push them into understanding because
no,
that's it.
I,
They're starting a journey of always doing the work.
yeah,
You
I,
can't go back.
that's exactly right. I call it, I call that work, when you get into that level of work, I call that dream killing, because before I did it, that's what my life was like. It's like I had this dream, oh, one day I'll do this, or one day I'll do that. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely to do this? I had all these dreams. I don't have that anymore. It killed it. It's like when I go, oh, wouldn't that be lovely? There's a voice in my head that says, what do you mean, wouldn't that be lovely? You know the rules. You do it or you're not going to do it. Are you going to have a go or you're not going to have a go? If you're not going to have a go, put it down. And if you are going to have a go, then get on it.
You
And
know too much.
that's it. It's just like, that's it. And so there is a bliss in that ignorance. You can sit in there and look at those things, said, because, and this is probably the hardest thing for people to hear, is that once you get your knowledge and understanding past a certain point, it's all about responsibility.
Yes, you can't do these things anymore.
No, there's things that you just can't do.
And I guess that's why
And
we see it. That's why we notice it and it bothers us. Whereas for people that choose to operate on the superficial level, it doesn't. It's just
no,
not an issue for them.
that's right. So, but they find it, and this is the thing, is that life always equalizes. So it always brings you into reality. So there's different kinds of wealth, and one of them is financial, but there's a lot of other ones. And when you understand how they interrelate, which is part of the laws we've talked about,
Yeah.
so when you interrelate them, so suddenly everything's different, everything gets better, and
Mhm.
you hold it. You know, the problem is with the money thing is that it works really well, and then one day you get really sick, or your relationship falls to bits, or something else happens, and you just sort of go, I don't understand what's going on. And it's like, well, that's because you didn't understand the laws that built it.
And this
So
is the
you,
difference, I think, that when you're not embodied in that practice and when you are, you know how I told you a few weeks ago after a session, I said, it feels like everything is grounded
yeah,
and established,
yeah,
clear, and
yeah,
all the aspects just fall into place. So that is one experience versus a very superficial experience of, okay, so I got that figured out. I'll have a funnel, I have a marketing
yeah,
strategy, everything will run, or money comes in, but then all of it also goes out. or the other aspects are not, there is no interconnectedness, there is no integration between the aspects of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason, I wanted to ask you, I think we should probably finish the conversation soon. I wanted to ask you about one thing that I wrote down for myself. You mentioned it, and I think that it's super important to cover that. When you talked about marketing and funnels, you said that it's very easy for people to notice when it's manipulation.
Yeah.
So manipulation is something that I know that it's a term that people have different opinions on. Also, not just in, business and sales and the financial stuff, but also in therapy, in just
Mm.
healing, the healing world, that you have modalities that are all about manipulation. You're manipulating joints, you're manipulating tissues,
That's right.
versus other ones that are not about that. And this is one of my realizations. I had to go through a lot of years of learning modalities that work on manipulation
Mm.
and experiencing the other human being to see what happens to a person when you manipulate them
Yeah.
versus when you're in full alignment and respect of their being, and
Yeah.
you tap in to assist, but you never manipulate.
No,
You
that's right.
allow,
Yeah.
you're bringing in yourself, just because now it's easier because there are two human beings that can do that together. But it's not the same as manipulating the tissue. You're not pushing, pressing, pulling, or on an energetic level. You're not grabbing, throwing, or commanding something to change if it's not in integrity with
That's
and
right.
alignment with your
Yeah.
client, right? So
Absolutely.
manipulation. Can you talk about manipulation?
Well, manipulation is about technique. So I give you a good example of it. Marketing history, I haven't had a look at it for a little while, but for a long period, about 10 years, I was a very avid student of marketing history,
Mhm.
right? Because that's you can study psychology, you can study counseling, you can study energy therapies, you can study all of these modalities, but if you don't understand marketing history, you are really working with a tiny section of how the mind works.
Mhm.
Because in the Western world, for 100 years now, marketing has been the primary training mechanism for people. And you go and see a doctor. I mean, I always remember that report they were talking about. They showed doctors information, and part of it was they showed them a journal like the Lancet, which is like that's considered to be sort of a pinnacle piece of peer-reviewed literature.
Mhm.
And they went through it and they asked questions to doctors about what they thought about certain things. And the doctors answered very accurately. They were very intelligent, academically brilliant people. What they didn't understand is that about 87% of what they were citing that they thought were coming out of the articles that were scientific reports were actually in the ads in between them. So they were responding with the marketing. They think they know what they're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Said 100 years ago, marketing changed. So marketing was all about uh, you got a sore tooth. All right, great. We've got this thing that'll help. You've got a problem. We've got a solution. And then that took off around the 70s and the 80s, and it started to change because there were so many people's problem was that I've got this solution, this product that needs to be sold, and that's my problem. I need to sell this to people. So they were like, okay, we need to completely flip the idea. So it's not about you need to buy a solution to your problems. We need to give you a problem so that you feel like you need to buy this solution.
Create it in some way.
Exactly. And that is still the fundamental of marketing, which is a complete manipulation. It's trying to take away your free will. It's trying to take away your own sovereignty about who you are as a person because it's telling you you're not a person. I mean, one of my favorites are the KFC ads. Is that if you watch those ads, you'll notice that they're filled with incompetent men who are disowned masculine, right? Just weak, simp men,
Yeah.
right? And women who are people pleasers, who are completely unlovable.
Yeah.
And that's the way they project people. And they're saying this is how society views normal people.
Yeah.
And and it's like, well, they're telling you everything they think about you, because what is the thing at the end of the day is that you are so unlovable. If you don't stuff chicken down your kid's throat, they won't talk to you. Right? That's what the ads say.
That's a way bigger psychological
Yeah,
thing just to sell food.
exactly.
So
Yeah, food. So, it's that. So when you are working as a therapist, what happens is you can get caught in the same mentality. I have a modality. My problem is that I need to work it on people. So
mhm.
when you come in with your problem's irrelevant because I'm thinking about my problem. So I'm going to show you how clever I am, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that.
The
And
ego.
everybody does that in the beginning. It's inexperience, right? Because you're trusting in the modality and you're doing all that. So you're going to make those mistakes. But the sooner you get out of that, the better, because when you start to realize that you're there to be of service and that the person comes to you, you are looking for how much valued service you can bring to that person in the time that they have with you. And when you do that, you're not manipulating them. You are in honest connection and co-creation with that person. And that's a beautiful thing. But if you keep manipulating people, if you keep setting them up to have a problem and telling them that one size fits all, which is what all these programs are all about. They're
Yeah.
like one size fits all. It's like that's not how it works. I have a
Humans are too different.
Yeah, my mentoring, it annoys the hell out of people in the beginning because they expect to be given a program. Here's your 12 steps. And
Yeah.
they're going to put it on the shelf with all their other mentoring programs that they've done.
And you
And
can't do that.
and nothing's going to change. And when they come to me, I'm like, right, what do you want to build? Okay, let's build it. Let's do this, do that, do that. And I'm constantly pulling it apart and doing all that. And that's where people get frustrated by it because it's like, well, why isn't there a book? I said, well, you write one. Write the book that is relevant to you so that you can take it with you. That's why your notes matter. I said, not my notes. I said, if you had my notes, most people would find that very disappointing, you know.
Yeah.
So
If
my
it's
notes
not
are
relevant
simple.
to their life experience in that specific point in time.
Yeah. My entire mentoring program is on a sheet of paper, like a sheet of A4 paper, scribbled a few notes with some arrows, and it's stuck on the inside of my desk that I face when I'm sitting there. He said, that's it. That's all I need
Yeah.
because the rest of it's there. He said, that's where you build, we're co-creating it. And I've seen that so many times with people in their businesses where um, they have problems, And I remember the person who built their business and they had a really successful business. They got a marketing specialist in, and
Mhm.
then all their calls dried up. And I'd been marketing for a while, and they didn't mention it. They didn't tell me this is what was going on in their business. And then one day they talked to me about how frustrated they were. And I'm just sitting there just going, whoa, 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 wait a
What
minute.
happened?
Yeah, what is going on? I said, these people are telling you they can make this in your business. And it's like, okay, but they haven't. You haven't made a dollar out of it. It's actually cost you probably 25, 30 grand, and you haven't made a dollar back. So before you had them, you would have kept the 30 grand because you made that 30 grand not from them, you made it from your own business.
Yeah.
So we broke down what was going on there. Said that person got rid of the marketing that day, made the decision, right, that's done. Now the marketing still ran for another month or so because they got stuck into their marketing person and said, hey, wait a minute, this is not
Yeah.
working.
Contract.
Yeah. And then the person was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So they gave them extra time. They didn't get any more calls. Right. And because it was out of integrity. So, but that person made six to 7 grand that day that they made a decision. When they made the decision to get back in integrity and take back control of what they did and go into the unity of what they were doing, it said they made it was nearly 7 grand.
I wish it was just a story, but I'm the living evidence of it that it
It
constantly
happens.
happens because I'm constantly jumping from one thing to another. It's like that's my tendency because I'm interested in a lot of things. So I
Yeah.
have my really well established practice,
Yeah.
but then I'm really interested in psychology. I'm really interested in marketing. I'm really interested in business. I'm just, oh, that looks interesting. That all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time I get a new assistant, I'm trying a new technique, I always end up spending a lot of time, a lot of money. It looks like it will make your life easier, but it's not,
Yeah.
because the time that you need to invest in it is huge. But it's not like you create an ongoing, long-lasting system, because
Mm.
you need systems.
You do.
It's like a superficial little
Yeah.
thing, here's a new funnel, here's a new, let's do this, let's do that, but there's no essence to it.
Yeah.
You end up spending all this time, all this money trying to train someone, an assistant, or trying to implement a new program of funnels or marketing or whatever. It ends up doing nothing at all. Nothing. So you could have kept the time and the money.
Yeah, exactly right. You'll be further ahead.
Yeah.
Is that you'll be further ahead.
It's not
So
something that people know about. It's not being talked about. It's not being advertised that you can be yourself and that will do the job.
that's right. Because
Because then you won't buy anything.
yeah, all marketing is trying to let people know about you.
And that's it. And then you need to
That's
actually
all.
prove yourself and
Yeah.
show who you are. You know how we talked about it before? I mentioned that a lot of the coaching that I've tried, or advisors, business advisors, it never worked for me.
Mm.
It was, again, it lacked the essence or the embodiment, because nowadays there are a lot of coaches that are book smart. They learned a program, a technique, an approach, and now they're teaching it to other people, but they didn't build that successful business themselves yet.
No,
They're
that's right.
just talking empty,
Yeah.
again, just moving forward that information. It's not even knowledge, it's information. Um, every now and then I try a new thing to see if something will bring me some value. It never does. And then what my partner noticed when I was talking to him about it, he said, I can see why you and Jason are a match in how you work and and why is he a good mentor to you, because both of you came from martial arts,
Yeah.
and both of you, what you are about and how you practice is discipline.
Yeah.
It's not superficial. There's a whole big process and essence to it that there's no way to replicate it in a short way. You can't get a black belt or a brown belt in martial arts because you're so special, just you're the only one. You actually need to go through the process and the steps, and it doesn't matter if you're more gifted than somebody else,
Yeah.
because you don't even know what you don't know. That's what I keep telling people. You won't, until you will actually go through the journey, the process. There's no way for you to know what you think that you know now, what you don't know, what you'll find out. I found it a lot in martial arts when I was always one of the first ones on
Mm.
top, because in terms of um, how athletic I was, I came from, in my family, my dad used to train us since when we were kids. We were running every day before school. After school, we would always do exercise. He built a whole gym for us. And then with the martial arts as well, because my physical state was really good. The commitment to the practice was good. I was always really flexible, really strong, until my first fight.
Yeah.
When I actually experienced what it's like. For me, it wasn't being hurt, it was hurting
Yeah.
to cause pain to someone else.
Yeah.
It completely restructured my brain, and I had to wait years to go back to martial arts after I already went through the process, to try another type of martial arts, just to put myself in that situation and break through that barrier.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that I was doing karate. It didn't matter how good I was in katas. It didn't matter how flexible I was, and my kick. I don't even know how to call it, like split kick in English. I don't know. But it didn't matter, because in real life, in real practice,
Yeah.
all it took is one punch from my side to completely change who I was, how I saw the practice, all of it,
Yeah. That's
and
right.
years to overcome that.
Yeah. And it's business is the same.
Yeah.
Having children is the same.
Yeah.
You know, is that it's a there's so many beautiful opportunities to experience growth. I said, and that's where if we get caught up in technique and we get caught up in fads, we lose, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to have those experiences. And that's where the real abundance is. The abundance is in the depth. It's
Yes.
not on the surface. It's the genuine abundance that stays is underneath. It's a funny, I think of a funny example. I had a client, mentoring client said to me one time, they said, oh, they were getting caught up. And this is like I suppose, a people pleasing dynamic, is that they were getting caught up in that because the person had come to them and said, oh, you know, I can teach you how to make 20, I think it was like, you could make $24,000 this month.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh, okay. And they're just not sure how to deal with it. And then they're on there, they're just going, I don't understand what's going on. I'm really frustrated, I'm really whatever. And I just said to them, I said, I don't know why you're frustrated about it. I said, how much did you make today? And they said, oh, yeah, well, I had these big courses coming in. So I made $60,000 this week. And I said, well, that's probably why it's not making sense to you. I said,
You
why
don't
would you
need
want to
that.
learn how to make 24 grand, spend all your energy doing that? Well, you're making that a day. Why would you bother learning how to do it
But
one
marketing
30,
works.
like take 30 times longer?
Yeah.
It's like that's crazy. But that's where you get caught up in it,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's it. People don't understand because they think that they're doing a service. They're going to really help people. But they look at a person, they go, this person's really successful. They'll want to buy my program.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't get successful buying programs like that. They
Yeah.
got successful creating from their own authentic self. I said, even anything that somebody like, I mean, we're constantly studying, we're constantly looking at our skills. I said, but what I suppose the difference is that when we do that, we don't think, okay, how can I add that? We think, how can I be that? How can I assimilate that? Where am I already doing it? How can I do more of it? That's the perpetual increase. You know, said I work on a system of time management that changes the relationship with linear time. Takes 24-hour day, makes it 6 hours. And there's a lot of factors to it. They're very simple, but you do it right, it's incredible. Do it wrong, you'll burn yourself out really fast
Yeah.
because it's rocket fuel stuff, you
Yeah.
know. So, but the thing about it was interesting. I was talking to someone about the other day, and I realized I used to work in a service station. It was a 24-hour service station. It had 4 shifts, so it's 6 4s 24. They already had the model, but
Yeah.
they didn't teach us how to build the model. They just taught us how to use it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, I've used that before. It's brilliant. And I ended up building this. And the reason I built this model was because I heard an interview with a billionaire, and it was a little snippet like a TikTok clip. And they said, why do you think that you're more successful than your competitors? He said, no one can outwork me. He said, my days are only 6 hours long. He said, he said, 6 hours, I've got it done. He said, 6 hours later, I've got 2 days done.
Yeah.
And people were making jokes about it. That was what the TikTok was. People were just sort of going, it's like, oh, I work in 2 hour days, and oh, I work whatever. And it's like, no, you missed the point, guys.
Yeah.
Said what this person was saying was really profound, but you have to embody it. You have to find the depth in yourself to do it. And I did that. And just in doing that, it's had a profound effect in my quality of life.
And we have
And
the evidence that it works because a lot of businesses work that way.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it
But
is a
it's,
fact that it's possible.
yeah, very much.
Just people don't take it to their personal life.
That's right. You got to embody it. It's about you being more,
Yeah.
not everything coming to where you are, which I think is where the fundamental problem is. So you expect the whole world's going to come to you where you are, and it's not. You have to go to where it is.
Yeah.
So if there's
Yes.
abundance, there's prosperity, there's genuine soul aligned expression
Yeah,
of
but it also
work.
looks differently for everyone. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of us being different, that
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense for us to build our whole journey as a practitioner or a business owner in the same way, because every person's expression, I'll add to that, because I tend to tap into people's blueprint.
Yeah.
I can see the bigger, if they allow me, but I can see the bigger picture of their whole lifetime.
Yeah.
And it looks so different. For some people, I can get a very elaborated plan of this is what you're meant to be doing. Go study this, and that. Open your practice, do this. After 2 months, do that. These are your clients. This is how it looks. And like give them structures that I don't even know how to do for myself.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody else, I can see their expression of abundance this lifetime is to travel the world. They don't even have any possessions.
Yeah.
And it's not, there's no elaboration. It's just them in different sceneries, just moving and experiencing, and maybe sometime at some point writing a book or creating something or meeting one person and saying something, and that's it.
That's right.
There's nothing more to it.
Yeah.
And that's their ultimate expression.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how can you put those two people under one structure and one funnel and one modality, or it just doesn't work.
It's not real.
It's not real. Jason, thank you so much for this conversation.
It's lovely. Thank you,
Would you
Valery.
like to mention where people can find you?
If they want to find me, then the website that I give to
the
people.
Secret website.
The secret website is thelifeprinciple.com, .com.au. And it's Jason Parks. So and they'll find how to get in contact.
Thank you for sharing your secret.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Valery.
And I will add probably mine as well.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're doing with this recording yet.
No. But what a lovely conversation.
Thank you for your time.
You're most welcome, Valery. You too. Talk to you soon.
Would you like to stop the recording?
I'll sort it all out.